So now we're going to talk about Meta Viewport, and we'll start out here. And so we have this code that we put into our Meta Viewport width equals device width, and initial scale equals 1. And so Meta Viewport width equals device width, and initial scale equals 1. And so here's Mozilla using the viewport meta tag to control layout on mobile browsers. And so I'm just looking for a date. It doesn't say when this was put up. And the web moves so fast that literally, I'm like, okay, has this changed since I taught this in the spring? But here we put this tag in, meta name viewport content width equals device width, initial scale equals 1. So what does that mean? Here, the viewport is the port through which we view a web page, a browser window. And on a mobile device, we're saying the width of that viewport is equal to the device width, the width of the device. Okay. And mobile phones had a tendency to take web pages and just say, I'm going to pretend this is a 980 pixel computer screen. I'll show that web page on here, and then you'd have to pinch and zoom, right? And you still see some web pages like that, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't have this meta name viewport, content width equals device width, initial scale equals 1. So maybe if we created a web page and looked at that, so I'm just going to go to temp and create a new directory, and 19, and this will be viewport, and we'll create 01, 01, and then we'll grab that surfer page, and the surfer page solution, we'll grab those two files and drop them in there. And we'll just look at these on a browser. Well, that don't look so good because I forgot the image. Where's my image? Starting files, surf. And that's just going to no longer be in 01 starting files. It's going to be surfer. Surf charge. Okay, so if I look at this on mobile, I got to zoom in, pinch and zoom. It just kind of took everything and squeezed it in. And I could even see here, I could change my device, so an Nexus 5X, right? And it shows me it's 412 by 732. But is there a better way that we could do this? I can't pinch on zoom on this. If you want to debug on an actual phone, which is recommended, you could debug mobile HTML on phone. Just search for that, debug mobile HTML on phone, and then follow these instructions. And it shows you how to turn on debugging on your phone, connect it with a USB cable to your computer, and then once it's connected, you could push your web page to your phone and see what's it look like on this phone. Really useful. And so now let's add in that meta tag and see how it changes here in the and then here in Developer Tools, I just click this little link right down there, right, to get it to go to mobile. And if you're watching this online or you're in here and you're like, what did you just do? Developer Tools, more tools, Developer Tools, and then click mobile, and it shows it to you on mobile. So let's add in here Meta Viewport. Copy it. I can't ever remember it. Name. Meta name viewport content width equals device width, initial scale 1. Now let's launch this again. And often you need to launch it again and go here and look at it in mobile. Now look at it in mobile. This is how my phone took it initially and made it, and this is what mobile made it look like. Totally broke it. So if you want to build web pages that work well on phones and also work well on desktop computers, you were wondering what I was going to say. I was wondering what I was going to say too. You need to include meta name equals viewport, content is equal to width equals device width, initial scale equals 1. And you add that into all your code, that little magic line right there. And then you have to, at mobile, right, use your media queries and say it's going to look like this when you're under this size, and when it gets bigger, it'll look like something else. Because this one still looks the same. But it's only this one that changed. So meta name viewport width equals device width, initial scale equals 1. How does it know that, like, I'm just not on a crappy old small monitor? I don't know. That'd be a good question. That's a question I have that I don't have an answer for, right? Because it says that this is 412 by 732, 412 pixels. I guess there aren't any 400 pixel monitors. So if I was just on a smaller thing, desktop monitor, but came down to 400, see, it's broken at 400. But when I come up a little bit, so there it starts to look okay. Right? But then how is it normal here? Like, what did this one look like when it's it refreshed? So let me take that out. Let me create 2. The first one won't have it. There's the first one. The second one does have it. There's the second one. Okay, so they're the same. Now let's make it small. They're the same. Now let's make a mobile. You know, like, how's it know that I'm on mobile? Because I went down to 400 pixels. But this one at 400 pixels is like, oh, you're on a different device. Let's make it look like this. I don't know, man. Maybe that's browser implementation. But that'd be a really good question. If anybody wants to try to find the answer to that this weekend, you see the question I'm asking, and then come back to class. And if you give me that answer, I'll give you a free trip to Europe, all expenses paid, or maybe a brand new BMW 528iX drive, or maybe a pat on the back. It'll be one of those 3. What? Yeah, it'll be one of those 3. So that's what Meta Viewport does. So then once it's like this, you could start to style it to look good on mobile. But you need to be previewing your page on phones to see how's it looking on phones. That's an introduction to Meta Viewport. Meta name equals viewport, content equals width equals device width, initial scale 1. We'll explore what those mean in the next video.